Welcome to Breaking Barriers, where we're exploring African American history and today's social justice issues. Change starts with awareness, so listen and learn. I'm your host, Stephanie, and let's get started. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Breaking Barriers. I'm so happy that you're here. Super excited. Today's topic is going to be something very important, as they all are, but this one is very relevant as it is currently happening right now. So today, I want to talk about DEI and everything that is going on with the executive orders that Trump has put in place. So, yeah. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Stephanie Cooper. I am your host. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm so glad you decided to join the family. And if this isn't your first time and you're returning, thank you so much. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. And I am super excited to get in today's topic. So let's get into it. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about DEI and everything that's going on with it right now and Trump's executive orders. If you don't know what DEI means, it just stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are programs that can take into many different forms, but they generally describe efforts to increase access to and remove barriers from things like higher education, employment, stuff like that for people of diverse backgrounds. So socioeconomic status, race, creed, gender, all of these things that can usually be seen as a barrier that could be a potential problem seen in the eyes of certain people. Not that it is a problem, just it can be seen as one by a certain group of people. So, why I want to talk about this is because if you have seen anything in the news right now, you know that the first day that Trump got into office, he rolled back DEI. The first day. He knew exactly what he was planning. We all knew this because it was in Project 2025. He told us he was going to do it. He told us how he was going to do it. He told us all the details of it. And for some reason, a good amount of people did not listen. And now we're here. So now we have to figure out what to do from here. So let me dive more into it so we get a better understanding of why this is an issue, how serious it is, and what needs to be done. The first day that Trump got into office, he wrote in executive order, and I'm going to read it because it's a long name, but this is a quote of what it is called. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. That's what it's being called. Let that sink in for a second. Okay. And then directly after that, all federal DEI were placed on paid leave to eventually be laid off. Great, they put them on paid leave. They're still getting paid, but they know that they no longer have a job. So now they're all on a search for a job, even though they've likely had this job for quite some time and are, being prepared to live off of that salary that is now gone. This was all done in the same day that Trump was inaugurated. Same day, which, mind you, was actually MLK Day. So I don't know why we even did that. I know they did that on purpose. They could have picked any day for inauguration, but they chose MLK Day. They knew what they were doing. Next, let's talk about like the origins of DEI, where it started, all of that. So the efforts started in the federal government and can be traced all the way back to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This has been some time now. It's been a good 60 plus years. It's been some time that this has been in action, and now it's being rolled back on the first day of his presidency. So Obviously, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 also includes a lot of other things, but this is one of those things that is also included it. So, um, not allowing discrimination in employment based on race, religion, sex, color, creed, origin, anything like that. That was completely outlawed with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Then a year later, um, President Lyndon B. Johnson issued Executive Order 11246. Yes. Um, this banned the discrimination of federal employment and required government to take affirmative action, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more later, and explain kind of what that is, to ensure that applicants are employed and that they are treated fairly through the employment process, through their just having the job in general, that they are being treated fairly, regardless of their race, creed, color, origin, all of that. Let's take it back all the way back to Reconstruction period. And so this is kind of where we're seeing everything start, where we're seeing the need for um, making sure that there is no discrimination as far as education, employment, all of those things, making sure that no one is being discriminated against. So, following the abolition of slavery, initiatives like the Freedmen's Bureau were put in place to establish support for newly freed African Americans by offering them access to education, employment aid, and just basic rights and protection to make sure that they are safe. But as we know, systematic racism always creeps in. And this is also the rise of Jim Crow. So we're seeing Jim Crow laws being put in place. If you have never watched my podcast, I also have another video about Jim Crow um, to help you better understand this. I can link it on this video, probably be up in this corner. But this is where we're seeing Jim Crow laws, we're seeing segregation. People are not allowed, Black people are not allowed into certain areas. They're white only areas. They're only allowed to do certain things and go to certain places. So this kind of messed up the efforts that they were pushing for. After this, we're seeing organizations such as the National Association for Colored Women and National Association for Colored People. They are starting to push for a change in these areas, advocating for equal rights, including workplace and educational equity. Then we get to the mid 20th century. We're seeing the formal creation of EEO legislation. We did talk a little bit earlier about the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which has the Title VII, which talks about it's kind of the beginning stages of Equal Opportunity Employment Act. The actual Equal Opportunity Employment Act was employed in 1972, and that's where it prohibits discrimination in the workplace based on race, gender, um, relationship, origin, sex, all of these different things that can possibly be seen as something that people could be discriminated against. I talked about affirmative action earlier when I was talking about President Lyndon B. Johnson, but I didn't really explain what it is, so I'm going to give you a definition. Um, Affirmative action is a set of policies designed to address inequities and inequalities and increase representation in marginalized groups through employment, education, all these things. Um, it had a significant impact on the change that they were looking for, but it also did kind of create its own problems, still problems that we're seeing to this day, and kind of an ongoing debate about its fairness and its effectiveness, all that. But the goal of affirmative action is to ensure that individuals that are from historically disadvantaged groups have access to things that everyone else has access to. So things they wouldn't normally have access to living, in a minority, whether it's a woman, people of color, someone with a disability, anything like that, allowing them to have equal access to opportunities that are not usually something that they would have access to, and making sure that they're not excluded or underrepresented due to discrimination. Like I said, there's a lot of debate around this. People think that they're not getting jobs that they were supposed to get because they gave it to a black person or a brown person, whoever it is. They think that they are missing out on opportunities because of these affirmative actions. Um, Even though a lot of times that person is just qualified. And this is a problem that we're going to see now because it's being rolled back. So people who have, multiple degrees, have all this experience, they're not going to get access to these jobs because they're being discriminated against. Solely because now someone can say, you know what, their name sounds black, their name sounds Hispanic, their name sounds this, their name sounds that. I don't want those type of people at my workplace. And they can immediately not even interview, even if you have all the qualifications and more. They can immediately just like, no, I'm good. Again, not everybody is rolling back on these policies, but a lot of people are. And I'm going to tell you at the end of this video, the companies and stores and all of that who are rolling these back so you know not to shop there anymore. But I digress. By the 1970s and the 1990s, we are seeing DEI emerge in the workplace. So we're seeing affirmative action expansion where colleges, workplaces are implementing programs aimed to increase the representation of marginalized communities in their schools, in their workplace, wherever it is. Um, these efforts were trying to address systematic racism and create more equitable opportunities. Also, in the 1960s, we were seeing corporate initiatives that are incorporating diversity training programs. So, this is driving both regulatory compliance and recognition of benefits of having a diverse workspace. This is something that is still being done to this day because this is important to have a diverse workspace. When you have a group of people who are literally like the same person, you're all going to have the same ideas. Nothing is ever going to change. It's going to be the same thing over and over again. If you have people of different backgrounds, different areas like where they're learning, like different education, different race, all these different things contribute to who a person is and the things that they learn. When they're coming from somewhere different than you, they have a different perspective and they can give you different ideas to make change that you're seeking for, to upgrade certain things that you currently have in the workplace or even at schools. Like, it is beneficial to everybody to have different ideas coming in all the time and not just the same stuff over and over again. When you have the same stuff over and over again, it gets stagnant, it gets old. You have to keep up with the world that we live in. It's forever changing. And if you don't keep up, you're getting left behind. Simple as that. One of one of my favorite claims about this whole affirmative action, DI, EEO, is the criticism and challenges that it faced. A lot of people of certain communities would claim it is reverse discrimination. And I'm sure those are the same people that would call reverse racism. I recently saw a video of a lady speaking in front of a group of all white people. Well, it was mostly white people. There was a couple people of color in there, but it was majority white people dressed in suits. The suits is important. So she's talking to them and she's talking about racism and she's like, "How many of you know what racism is?" A bunch of people raised their hand. She said, "Okay, how many of you know white racist?" A bunch of people raised their hand, put their hand down. She said, "How many of you know black racist?" And a couple people raised their hand, whatever. She said, "Okay, cool, no problem." She said, "How many of you could acknowledge your actions, your behaviors, the things that you have seen other people do, how that is affecting the lives of black individuals? Are the things that you are doing, the racial and racist acts and things that you are saying towards the black community, is it affecting their ability to get a job, their ability to have housing, their ability to have healthcare, all of these things that are important to every single person's life? Is it affecting their ability to have access to those?" Most people raise their hand because they realize that the actions of white racists affect the black community. And she said, okay. And how many of you agree that black racists affect the lives of white people? The things that black racists do affect the lives of white people. And everybody just looked around at each other. Like, okay. And she said, oh, I see everybody looking around at each other, but no one seemed to raise their hand. Interesting how you view black people as racist, but you realize that nothing that they can do can actually impact your life or make a change. It's not going to impact your ability to get a job, to go to school, to get healthcare, any of these things. And she said, you know what? You know why? Because we know that white people are scared of black people. She said, yeah, you guys are scared of us. We know that. And you know how we know that? Because as soon as racism ended, black people didn't do anything to try to protect themselves from white people. But that's the first thing that white people did. Y'all put a group together that we all know as the KKK to try to protect yourselves from what you thought a black person was going to do to you. And, you know, we know them as, wearing hoods, wearing all white. But we don't see that anymore, is what she said. She said now they wear suits. If you remember in the beginning of the story, I told you every person in that room was wearing a suit. I really liked that video. It was a good video. If I could link it, I would. I might put the link to it because I have to find it off of Instagram, but I'll put the link to it in the description because she ate them up with that one. She really did because they was silent after that. They had nothing to say. But yeah, that's why I think the criticism of this is very funny. The more current challenges that we are seeing is the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action in 2023. So in 2023, the rollback of race conscious admission policies was changed in colleges and universities. Um, and this kind of raised some concern as far as the ripple effect leading into employment and the DEI programs. Another current issue we're seeing is corporate backpedaling. So companies like Disney and Walmart are scaling back on their DEI initiatives due to political pressure and economic concerns. And this is signaling for a potential retreat of diversity focused programs, which, little tidbit, Walmart is one of the companies I'm going to mention later. They are one of the ones that are rolling back on their DEI programs, which is very interesting to me. I don't really shop at Walmart that much, but I won't be anymore. They're not getting my money, not my black money. Thank you. Another problem we're seeing is workplace disparities. Black workers continue to face systematic barriers in hiring, promotions, equal pay, despite decades and decades of DEI and EEO policies. I want to talk specifically about how this is going to impact the Black community. So there's a lot of areas that's going to affect, including um, economic opportunities, education, and workplace diversity. So, as far as the economic opportunities, discrimination is probably going to heighten because DEI programs often provide training and framework to address systematic racism within the workplace and address unconscious bias, implicit bias. I talked about this in my last video. Um, Without having these programs, Black employees may face a lot more discrimination and fewer opportunities for advancement because people are not aware of their bias. They may not know what they're doing wrong. They may know exactly what they're doing wrong. Most of the time, they know exactly what they're doing wrong. They just know that they're going to get away with it, unfortunately. So seeing this being rolled back is going to be a big problem for racism in the workplace. I pray that everybody in the Black community, I pray that you work at a place full of Black people who are understanding, who are going to make sure that you are taken care of and that you are not being treated poorly because of Trump's decision. Another place that we could see a big change is contracting and small businesses. The federal diversity mandate historically helped minority owned businesses secure government contracts. And the elimination of DEI initiatives could reduce the access to these contracts, hindering economic growth within the Black community. So we're seeing the assistance of the government being yanked away from these companies, and chances are people are probably relying on these contracts, even if they're not all of their funding. It's probably a good portion of it, and probably helping them maintain that business. And we're seeing that being yanked from under their feet. So again, I really hope all those Black businesses out there that are being uh, contracted federally, I really hope that this does not happen. I hope that these contracts are not being taken away, that we're not losing these opportunities. And if we are, that there's more foundation to keep you afloat. Like I always say, support Black businesses, support Black everything, businesses, companies, podcasts, social media, all the things, support the Black community. As far as education, like I said, affirmative action is a big part of education. Policies that are supporting access to higher education and underrepresented minorities could be weakened or defunded completely. This is going to continue to exacerbate disparities in college enrollment and graduation rates for Black students. As of 2024, the enrollment rate for Black students is 36% for 18 to 24-year-olds, which does not account for their completion rate. The completion rate of Black students in higher education is 45% after 6 years. This is the lowest rate compared to any other race or ethnicity. That was before the possible defunding of these programs that many of these students are a part of. Are we starting to see the pattern as to how we are being affected by DEI? On top of that, we're also going to see a decrease in cultural representation. The removal of DEI framework and in public schools and universities could reduce the efforts to include Black history and perspectives from the curriculum. It's already not a huge option. It's already not highly included. This is not a requirement. It's something that people choose to take this class. And now it has the possibility to decrease even more or be removed from the curriculum, which is going to lead to less inclusivity and cultural awareness of education environment in the education environment. When I was in college, I took every single African American studies class I could. You know how many it was? 3. 3 classes. 3. I had 8 semesters. Out of the 8 semesters, I was able to take 3 classes. Those were the only classes available, 3. And you're gonna tell me there's gonna be even less now? It's bad enough that they're not teaching it in middle school or high school, not be able to get access to it even in college. College is a place where you're supposed to be able to go and learn what you want, not what you have to learn, not what you're required to learn. You're able to go and explore so many different subjects. And now there's a possibility for that to be decreased or removed. They know what they're doing. They're giving us less opportunity for us to learn about our history. If we do not know our history, we will repeat it. If we do not know our history, we will repeat it. We're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. We are watching history unfold in front of our eyes. We are going back in time right now. The amount of times that we have gone back in time in the last decade is insane. We lost reproductive rights. Women don't have rights to their bodies anymore. Now we don't have DEI. Now we don't have equitable opportunities to get a job, to go to school, to get an education, to get a degree. Y'all got to wake up because we can't keep doing this. And for all the people out there that voted for Trump, knowing he had Project 2025 in plan, and now you're shaking in your boots because you didn't think he was really going to do it, open your eyes because this is on you. Because the 92% of Black women who didn't vote for him, we tried to tell you. We sat here and told you over and over and over again. So now that you made your choice, now it's time to figure out what you're going to do moving forward. How are you going to make a change? Okay. In my last episode, I talked about maternal Black health. We're going to see more disparities in healthcare, as if it could get worse. DEI initiatives in healthcare aim to address disparities in treatment and outcomes in marginalized groups. Rolling back these programs risks worsening inequities as if it wasn't bad enough. As implicit bias in healthcare delivery may go unchecked. I saw another video the other day about a man talking about how empathy and talking about color makes no change in the healthcare field. You know what does? The color green. Tell these people you're going to pay them less. Tell these people you're going to pay them more if you treat people fairly. That's where you're going to see a change. If you tell these doctors, hey, if you make sure that your care is equal all around and that you are getting good feedback from all different groups, we'll pay you more. We'll give you an incentive. And if you tell them, hey, if we get complaints or we see unequal quality of care based on race, color, ethnicity, all these different things, gender, whatever it is, we're going to cut your pay. That's where you're going to see a difference. That's where people are going to start checking their bias and realizing, maybe I'm not doing something right. Yeah. Then we're seeing the effect of civil rights and representation. Marginalization in policy. Removing DEI offices in the federal government agencies requires the capacity of the government to monitor and address systematic inequities, which may limit protection of Black communities. There's no longer going to be agencies or people in general looking out for the Black communities in efforts of policy. The policies already don't apply to us. And now there's no one even checking to make sure that, how would this affect the Black community? How could we change this to maybe address the problems that are being seen in the Black community? We're also going to see policy retaliation. So increased oversight and restrictions on private sector DEI. This is going to discourage companies and corporations from voluntarily implementing diversity strategies. So the companies that don't want to roll back on DEI, they're really going to be watching them and restricting them in any way they possibly can to try to get them to roll back. This is also going to further, it's just going to lead to further marginalization of Black voices in decision-making spaces. So people who actually have the power to make a change, the people in our government, in political positions that can actually make a change, their voices are going to be shut down more and more and more and more. And I know y'all have seen the companies out there who refuse to make changes in their DEI programs. One of them is very popular right now is Ben & Jerry's. Shout out to Ben & Jerry's. We love y'all. We already loved you, but now we really love you because you out there supporting the community. They are very, very clear about where they stand. And they will not be changing for nobody. I recently saw a video of a store who locked up the freezer doors just in front of the Ben & Jerry products. Everything else open, available, but the Ben & Jerry's one locked. I hope Ben & Jerry sees that video and sues them. I hope Ben & Jerry sees them and sues them because they're not allowed to do that. They have a retail contract with Ben & Jerry's saying, you're bringing our product here, we're going to sell it. You locking it up does not allow people to buy it. I hope Ben & Jerry's comes for y'all. I wish I knew what store it was because I don't. Because I would call them out. Ben & Jerry's, find them. Get their ass. Get them. As far as broader social implications, the rollback sends a message that diversity inclusions are not a priority, which is potentially fueling racial tension and reversing progress that has been made towards equity. Like I said, we are going back in history. We are going back in time. That shouldn't be possible. We should be moving forward, not going 35 steps back. Black professionals, educators, activists have raised concern in their policies and made widened existing racial gaps in wealth and education and social mobility. We're already seeing gaps, and now it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because people no longer have access to get a job. People are no longer going to have access to get a degree or go to higher education because they're being discriminated against off rip. They're not even being given the opportunity to even show how qualified or overqualified that they are. Efforts to counter this, their impacts are likely to require grassroots advocacy, legal challenges, and practice initiatives from private organizations and community leaders. This is why I'm telling y'all, you have to use your voice. You have to speak up. Because soon, we're not even going to be able to do that. I know we're already being censored on the internet. I know it. It's going to get to a point where we can't even use our voices anymore. We have so much access to the internet, but even there's so many people who are talking about how they're being shadow banned, how their videos are being taken down, how they can't upload their videos. It's restricting them from doing certain things. I can promise you, I have seen the effect. I have watched my Instagram views drop. Like, drop. Even like in my Instagram stories, like my views dropped crazy. And even people who normally see my stuff all the time were not seeing it. So I know that they are trying their best to stop us from talking, from our voices being heard. But if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, the message will get out there. Whether 2 people see it or 3 million people see it, at some point, it will happen. Do not let them shut you down because this is going to take all of our voices. And they need to be there and loud and proud. We need to be adamant about it. This is going to be something we have to push for consistently, or we are never going to see a change. Okay, so now we're going to talk about addressing the modern challenges, how to do that, strengthening advocacy. So civil rights groups and activists need to collaborate. We got to work together, y'all. We're in this for one. This is one big community. We need to work together. We also need legal protection. So advocating laws for safeguarding DEI programs, particularly in employment and education. Grassroots movements. So mobilizing communities to foster equity through local initiatives and alternative programs. Making sure that we are starting where we can in local spaces to create a bigger change. We got to start in local spaces. That way we can start connecting with people. We can network with people that they know and people that they know, and gets us to a point where we are able to make a larger change. Lastly, corporate accountability. Encouraging consumers to put pressure on these companies to maintain DEI commitments. These are commitments that they made. Do not keep spending your money at these corporations who do not support you, your living, who don't care about you. I don't care how much you like these stores. They don't care about you. They won't even hire you. Why would you spend your money there? Your hard-earned money. There are other places you can spend your money, I promise. Start shopping locally. Start shopping Black businesses online. Do your research. You really love this one product? Find it somewhere that is going to support you, that will hire you, who can proudly say that Black lives matter. We are at the point of being back in the civil rights era. As much as I love Black history, I don't want to be there. I love learning about it, but I don't want to be there. I want to make change, but I shouldn't be having to make change that was already made. I should be pushing for new things for us to move forward, not have to go back to where we were, because now we're backwards. Now we're back here, and I'm trying to get us back here. I should be putting us here. Y'all see what I'm getting at? Okay. I'm going to give y'all a couple of the companies that are rolling back on DEI programs so that you know not to shop there. There are definitely more. I'm going to try to link a video that I saw listing like all these companies. It's a lot, y'all. All these companies. But I'm going to give you a few of the top ones that we know. Amazon. I know y'all not going to like that, because I know Amazon is quick and easy, it's convenient, but too bad. Amazon, gotta go. Tesla. Now, I know you all saw what he did. I'm not going to say anything else. Y'all saw what he did. He did what he did. He can't take it back. There's no justifying it. Stop shopping at Tesla. Stop buying Teslas. To buy a different car. And X2. I mean, X was never anything for real. You lost it when Twitter went out the door. Let's be for real. Gotta go. Lowe's. Meta, which we all knew because everybody is talking about block Meta, block Facebook, block all these things on TikTok. So we knew that already. McDonald's. I know they got the best chicken nuggets out there, but you're going to live a healthier life anyways without them. They gots to go. Target. I know that's going to hurt y'all. I really do. I know. I love Target too, but not no more. I don't care if they have Black businesses in Target. I know they have a section specifically for Black brands. That's great. That's lovely. That's beautiful. But I'm sure they're going to rescind that too. They're going to take that away. Stop shopping at Target. It's overpriced anyways. Let's be for real. As much as I love Target, they're done. You're done. That's it. No more. Walmart. Gotta go. Find a different grocery store. I'm so sorry. Find another place. If you live in Texas like me, we all know and love HEB. Y'all treat HEB like it's an amusement park. So you have options. Ford, Nissan, Toyota. That's all I'll say for now. There's plenty more. Like I said, I will link a video with the full list. But I said what I said. Stop shopping there, y'all. We can't do it no more. If they don't care about your life, do not spend your money there, please. DEI and EEO efforts for the Black community are deeply rooted in struggle for civil rights. While progress has been made, systematic barriers continue to persist. And we see how we're going backwards now. Moving forward, it requires renewed commitment to these policies. Speaking to your policymakers, pushing for a change, putting pressure on corporations, and getting involved in your community to ensure equity and inclusion in the workplace, in education, and other spaces as well. That's all I got for y'all today. I'm sure y'all could tell. Real passionate about this. I mean, I'm passionate about everything I talk about, but this right here really gets to me. So please do whatever you got to do to make a change. Your voice matters. You matter. Please just push for this change as much as you can. Like I always say, use your voice. Okay? Bye, y'all. Have a great day. And I hope this message helped somebody. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.